Hi, God bless y'all. This is part 2 of my testimony. So, after coming to this new school, I am friends with these two girls. And, well, I can't say much while I was at school. But once we get to this new house, to this new city, we get there to our new house, everything's okay. And specifically at that moment, I remember that there was these Jehovah's Witnesses. We're starting to see a pattern here, but they come and they give me their Bible and their illustrated book. And at that moment, I was like, okay, so I got it for myself, and I knew like some of the Bible stories, so I wanted to reread. And surprisingly, the first book of the Bible that I read, it was the book of Revelation. I don't understand what a kid would be reading there, but I was like 9, 10ish. But it was a way of God, like, teaching me of where, like, or like guiding me little by little, even though I wasn't understanding anything. But it was like a hint to what God was gonna do later. So secretly, I was reading this Bible. My parents didn't know. No one else did. It was just between me and like only God knew. And I started to see like patterns of sevens, like 144,000, all these numbers, creatures, these beasts and stuff. Like, at least to me, it seemed very interesting. But, I may have been spiritual in that sense at that moment, but at school and like besides that, I was like listening to secular music, watching stuff that I wasn't supposed to, and that kind of stuff. So the enemy was like slowly destroying my innocence, and partly because I was so influenced by my friends, and since my friends didn't have Christian parents, or at least they weren't Christians, they influenced me a lot in that kind of sense, where I was doing the same things like them. So to the point that I ended up being rebellious against my parents. I wasn't obeying them. I started to like get mad at every single thing they told me to do. But I can say that God had other plans for me. So specifically, after all of this, with spending so much time with those friends, the enemy inside of me was like, what are you gonna do? And the enemy started to like talk to my mind, saying, look, no one is paying attention to you, you're not pretty, all these other girls your age are dating someone, but like, come on, this is a little kid. But the enemy knew where to get me at to like damage my heart. So I was like, right, that's true. Why don't I have someone, why am I not dating anyone? So I felt left out. But the enemy gave me like this choice, quotation marks, to end up falling in love with my friend. In a way, she's a girl. So the enemy started to like allow things between me and her. And at one point, the enemy made me think that I was like a lesbian. So after all of like this time that I was with her, I mean, in the flesh I was okay, but then like after like all that situation that had occurred, the enemy was like, well, that's it. That's all the fulfillment you're gonna get. Nothing else is gonna satisfy you. So it was just left like that. So me and her just like did our own stuff and nothing more. So time by time, I was like being influenced to sin more, to go further into that. So, like I said, since I self-proclaimed myself lesbian, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go let me see if I can somehow find a new relationship and da 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 da. that's how much the enemy was going after me. So since he was starting to see that I had like this interest in God, but at that point I only knew him like some supreme being in the sky. So the enemy knew that he had to stop this purpose in me. But right then and there, I thought that my life was normal. But turns out one day my grandma comes to our house. She invites us to church. For some reason my parents aren't able to go, or none of my brothers, so it's just me. I go alone to church with my grandma. We sit at the front row of the church. I was so happy to go because I finally got to like be in this worship service and stuff. So specifically, I remember that first time that I heard the pastor preach. He was talking about how this Christian gave his life to Jesus Christ, even though he was being persecuted, even though he was getting like being hurt and stuff, tortured. And as a little kid, I was impacted. I was like, what is a person doing, giving their whole life to God, even though they don't see him, but yet they have like this strength out of nowhere to resist anything? I was like, why? I mean, I had all these questions, but I never bothered to ask anyone. So I had that like inside of me, like I still wanted to find out about that truth. So I guess like the enemy was scared of something that God wanted to do in my life, because we start going to church and stuff, and like I just went and nothing more. There was an actual transformation. I still didn't have an encounter with God. So I just lived about my life thinking, okay, I like girls, I feel attracted to girls, and nothing more, and I love doing what I do. I don't think I need anything else. But at least that's what I thought at that very moment. So for the next part of this video, it will be part 3. I'll give it a continuum to this testimony. So this is all for now. God bless.